Elasmotherium. The name sounds like a mispronunciation. The animal was not. A rhinoceros the size of a bus, carrying a horn, so large paleontologists still argue about how long it actually was. Conservative estimates put it at 1 meter. Less conservative ones double that. Either way, picture a weapon growing directly out of a skull, attached to something that weighed up to 3.5 tons and charged at whatever annoyed it. Medieval soldiers invented lances. Evolution beat them to it by several million years. It roamed Ice Age Eurasia from roughly 2.6 million years ago until somewhere around 39,000 years ago. That's not ancient history. That's practically last Tuesday in geological terms. Homo sapiens were already walking around, making tools, drawing on cave walls, and sharing territory with a 4-legged battering ram. Some researchers believe early humans actually drew it. Cave art in Europe shows a large one-horned beast that matches nothing alive today. The Siberian Unicorn wasn't a legend. It was a neighbor. It went extinct likely through a combination of climate shift and habitat loss as the grasslands it depended on contracted. Not hunted into the ground. Not outcompete. Just outlasted by a planet that stopped cooperating. Sometimes that's all it takes. Mammoth Americanum. Not a mammoth. Close, but not the same. The American Mastodon was a separate genus entirely, diverging from the elephant lineage somewhere around 27 million years ago. Lower, stockier, and built for forests rather than open grasslands. While woolly mammoths preferred tundra, mastodons preferred trees, dense North American woodlands, spruce forests, swamps, anywhere with enough browse to sustain a body that could reach 4.5 meters in length and push 6 tons. Its teeth are the giveaway. Mammoths had ridged grinder teeth built for grass. Mastodons had cusped teeth built for chewing twigs, bark, and leaves. One letter of difference in the name. Completely different ecological strategy. Same general outcome. Humans arrived in North America around 15,000 to 13,000 years ago. Mastodons disappeared roughly 10,000 to 11,000 years ago. The overlap is uncomfortable. Spear tips have been found near mastodon bones. Butchering marks have been confirmed on multiple specimens. Climate was changing anyway, but the timing is hard to explain away. Early humans were not passive witnesses to megafauna extinction. In at least some cases, they were the reason. Eremotherium, 6 meters tall when standing upright. Let that settle. Not megatherium, though the confusion is understandable. Eremotherium was a distinct genus of giant ground sloth, its range extending across South America and into North America, spreading further than its more famous relative. Standing height of approximately 6 meters. Body mass estimated between 3 and 5 tons, depending on the specimen. Eremotherium was an herbivore operating at a scale that made most predators a minor inconvenience. Its claws, designed for pulling down vegetation, were large enough that walking on them directly was impractical. It walked on the sides of its feet instead, knuckle style, leaving tracks that made early researchers genuinely confused about what they were looking at. A sloth the height of a 2-story building, moving slowly through Pleistocene forests, unbothered. It survived until roughly 11,000 years ago, gone with the same pulse of extinction that cleared most of the Western Hemisphere's megafauna in a geologically narrow window. Some blame climate. Most evidence keeps pointing back toward humans arriving with weapons and no prior experience with animals that had never learned to fear anything. Glyptodon, a car, a literal prehistoric car, but angrier. This armored mammal was a relative of modern armadillos, scaled up to dimensions that make the comparison feel absurd. Body length up to 3.3 meters, weight estimated at around 2 tons, and wrapped entirely in a dome of fused osteoderms. Individual bony plates locked together into a shell so rigid the animal couldn't bend its spine. It didn't need to. Nothing was getting through. The shell wasn't smooth either. Patterned, textured, species-specific. Paleontologists can identify individual species from shell fragment patterns alone, the way you'd identify a fingerprint. Some species had spiked clubs at the end of their tails, used likely for intraspecies combat. Males fighting males over territory or mates. The tank had a weapon. Of course it did. Glyptodon lived across South America and pushed into North America during the Great American Biotic Interchange, when the land bridge formed and species flooded both directions. It survived until approximately 10,000 years ago. Archaeological evidence confirms humans used their shells, not to fight them. After they were dead, the shells became shelters. Early humans crawled inside the carcasses of Glyptodons and used them as roofing during bad weather. The tank became a tent. Castoroides, 2 meters long. A beaver, an actual beaver. The giant beaver of the Pleistocene reached body lengths of approximately 1.9 to 2.2 meters and weighed an estimated 90 to 125 kilograms. The largest rodent in North American prehistory. It lived in and around lakes, ponds, and rivers across the continent, the same wetland habitats modern beavers occupy today. Here is where it gets strange. Despite the size, despite the enormous incisors that could reach 15 centimeters in length, Castoroides almost certainly did not build dams. Modern beaver dam building is tied to specific tooth and skull morphology. Castoroides had teeth shaped more like a giant's garden shears than precision woodcutting tools. It likely fed on aquatic vegetation rather than bark. Same habitat, completely different ecological role. It disappeared around 10,000 years ago, in sync with the broader Pleistocene megafauna collapse. No confirmed direct evidence of human predation, but the timing is consistent with every other extinction in this window. A 125-kilogram rodent is a significant food source. It would not have gone unnoticed. Sivatherium, a giraffe that forgot it was supposed to be elegant. This was the largest known giraffid to ever exist, related to modern giraffes and okapis, but built on a completely different blueprint. Shorter neck, heavily built body, massive ossicones, the horn-like protrusions on the skull, branching and palmate in some specimens, resembling antlers more than anything modern giraffes carry. Males likely used them in combat. A giraffe built like a moose, roughly 2.2 meters at the shoulder and estimated at up to 1,200 kilograms. Sivatherium lived across Africa and into South Asia, with fossils recovered from Ethiopia, India, and regions in between. It survived until surprisingly recently. Some researchers have argued that Sumerian bronze figurines dated to around 3000 BCE depict an animal matching Sivatherium's profile closely enough to suggest the species persisted into early recorded human civilization. If accurate, it wasn't just prehistoric, it was historical. It vanished from the fossil record during the same broad megafauna decline that emptied much of the world's large animal diversity. Climate shifts, habitat fragmentation, and the persistent presence of human hunters across its range. A 1,200-kilogram animal with elaborate headgear and presumably slow reproduction. Exactly the profile that doesn't survive sustained pressure. Every animal in this list had survived ice ages, volcanic winters, continental drift, and millions of years of predators. We usually think of modern elephants as the kings of size, and if you want to see how the biggest animals alive today compare, you should check out my other video, Every Giant Land Animal Explained in 8 minutes, after this.